today's resource person is getting ready for today's session. Dear faculties, AICT is organizing common inauguration for 38 faculty development programs between 11 to 12. So at that time, I will send you a YouTube streaming link in the WhatsApp group. You can join in that group. Attend the Okay, sir has joined. So today session is between 9:30 to 11, introduction to IoT, and second session will be handled by him between 12:15 to 1:30, and 2:30 to 4 we are having the third session. So Dr. N. Balaji sir, he is associate professor in the Department of Information Technology, SSN College of Engineering, Coimbatore. So I am happy to introduce his profile to all the participants. Dr. N. Balaji is having 15 years of teaching experience. He received his BA and ME degree both in the discipline of Computer Science and Engineering and PhD specializing in trust-based routing approach for MANETs from Anna University, Chennai. His current research interest includes application of trust over information and communication domains, namely Internet of Things and blockchain technologies. He is a recognized supervisor of Anna University. He is also serving as a doctoral committee member for VIT, SRM and Satyabama University, and as a member of Board of Studies in SRM Valliyamai Engineering College and Wells University, Chennai. He is a recognized product of the CompTIA examination. He is actively involved in industrial consultancy projects. He is a member of professional societies including ACM and IEEE. He is one of the active coordinator in the cybersecurity working group under the Department of IT. So he have received a lot of certification in blockchain, IoT, cybersecurity, and outcome-based education. He has got certification in IoT in the top by Udemy, ThinkWork Academy, and King's College London. So he had done a lot of funded projects in various industries. So we are happy to have you as a resource person for this faculty development program, sir. I welcome you on behalf of KSR, IET and Atal Academy. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the introduction. I'm from Chennai. Actually, I work for SSN College of Engineering, Chennai. And shall I start the program, madam? Shall I start my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Are you all able to see my screen? Madam, are they able to see my screen?
No, sir.
No? Okay, 1 minute. Now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, as ma'am said, I'm an associate professor working in Department of IT, SSN College of Engineering, Chennai. Probably you all would have heard about SSN College of Engineering. It is the college which is promoted by Dr. Shiv Nadar, HCL Technologies. And one thing I would like to coin myself is I'm an enthusiastic learner. That's all. Other than that, I don't think that I have done something great, or I have not done anything in this area. The one quality what I possess is I'm a constant continuous learner, and that's what has pushed me to learn new technologies like Internet of Things, blockchain, and so on. And Internet of Things naturally an elevation for anybody who has done his research in networking. So I did my research in network, and here again natural elevation for me to land in IoT. So today's session I'll be trying to demystify Internet of Things. Please pardon me in case if I'm sharing the information which is already known to you, because I'm targeting the common audience, so I'm not particularly getting into any specific area of IoT. You all know probably, I hope most of you are faculty members. You may be pursuing research, or you may be guiding research in different aspects of IoT. That I am open for discussion. We have done some projects. We have done some projects in the domain of IoT, which I can very well share with you, and we can also discuss about that. But when it comes to the presentation, I'll be focusing on more generalized way of IoT, and I'll be giving you a beginner level exposure to IoT and what it is. So this is the objective of the lecture. You can see here, Internet of Things introduction, what, why, how, and Internet of Things hardware, sensors, and peripherals, and Internet of Things softwares. These are all the topics which we are going to see today. The world is changing. Do you accept with me or not? Do you accept that the world is changing or not? What are the changes we are coming across today? See, for say you can take this automobile industry. Automobile industry has completely drastically changed today. They say, 1 minute, I'll take up the pen. So they say if you look at the automobile industry, it has completely changed. Are you all okay with the display? Are you getting any flickering?
No, sir, it is clear.
It is clear. Thank you, madam. If you find any difficulty, do let me know, because I am using a tool called OpenBoard. OpenBoard is an interactive platform. I'm using that. In case if you come across any difficulty, do let me know. So the world is changing. That is what I mean to say. So you can see what are the developments which has taken place with respect to automotive industry. Today they say it is more of an electronics oriented industry than a mechanical industry. And you all would have heard about this. Sometime back we got this message where the competitor for Ford or Suzuki, or you say Ferrari, will be the Samsung, Microsoft, Google. So these are the companies which are posing a huge threat to this transport industry. And you know what happened to our hardware forums. We will see in depth, like the important paradigm shift what we have seen in hardware is open source hardware. We have come across a lot of open source software, but the revolution of this IoT started with open source hardware. You would have all known about it, the Arduino boards and Pi boards. Think about other technology playing a role in healthcare, technology playing a role in identifying or securing the identification of an individual. We all know all our data are available with the government in form of a Aadhaar. So in name of Aadhaar, all our information are stored across the globe, across the country, and it is put into a centralized server by the government. We have also seen what are the rapid developments which has taken place with respect to space technology and so on. And we have also seen like what are the other developments, what happened to the computers, where we have gone, how come we have been able to leverage the potential of computation and computers. So what are the things which are happening around computers? And you can see this energy sector, energy and automotive sector. They have made a monumental change in the way in which we look at the technology and the way in which we are leveraging the technology. And mobiles. See, when we talk about these things, we commonly call a new upcoming trend called SMAC. 1 minute, I'll take out the pen and then I'll start writing it. Just a minute. Okay, so what are the developments we have seen in the area? See, if you look at the General Industry Revolution 4.0, we term it as a SMAC: social, mobile, analytical, and cloud. These are all the 4 important magic words, buzzword, which actually comprises the Industry 4.0. You know what is social? Social, by term social, I mean how are we leveraging data, how the social networking companies have prospered in the recent time, and so on. To name few, you all know Facebook, Twitters, Instagrams, and so on. Come to mobile. We have seen leap and bound development which has taken place in the area of mobile, and mobile is also ruling the world today. You all know mobile is an inseparable part of a human ecosystem today. Third comes analytics. What are we going to do? See, we all know, as per the saying of Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, he said, he quoted once, data is the next fuel. So everywhere the data is available, what are we going to do with the data? That's where the analytics comes into picture. And finally, cloud. Cloud is nothing but, we talk about data. Data is everywhere. It's omnipresent. So how are we going to store the data? So these are all the 4 important areas which is going to make an telling impact in the Industry 4.0, and already it has made. And slowly the industrial society is also moving towards Industry 5.0. You can look here. Are we using IoT? Before getting into IoT, let's brainstorm ourselves. Are we using IoT? Are you using IoT? See, you can always unmute yourself and you can talk. I don't want this talk to be a very monotonous one. I want it to be an interactive one. You can always unmute yourself and you can talk to me. Are we using IoT? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. One common example is, I have illustrated the figure here. Take your mobile phone. Just for an example, let's take mobile phone. Your mobile phone knows where you are. Your mobile phone knows what are you speaking. Your mobile phone knows how close are you keeping your phone while you are speaking. Your mobile phone knows whether the time is day or night. Your mobile phone knows your voice. It knows your face. It almost knows most of the secret which even your life partner may not know. That is the level of intrusion the mobile phone, the simple mobile phone handset, what we are possessing in our arms or packets, is capable of. So in essence, if we throw this question like, are we the users of IoT? Let us not think too much. Let's put it very simple. Yes, the person who is holding a mobile phone or a smartphone above 5,000 is an user of IoT. Do you accept this or not? Do you have? Yes, right? See, it
Yes,
knows.
sir.
Further, I can just keep on adding. It further knows how many steps I have walked, what food I have taken on that particular day, and with whom I have, what are the hotels I have visited, and what are the places I have visited recently, what are the places where I have parked my vehicle. All these things, all these informations can be meagerly taken out from your mobile phones. So we are already the users of IoT. Don't ever think that IoT is something which is being used only by Amazons or Googles. No, Each and every individual, when you start possessing your smartphones, you automatically become a member of IoT family or an IoT ecosystem. Now let's see the evolution. How come the technological evolution has played a role in emergence of IoT? If you look at 80s, it was dominated by computer and process optimization. Can you name the company which dominated the globe in 1980s? Can you come up? (1980s). What is the company which dominated the world in 1980s? When you talk about computer, or I can also put it in other way around, which is the one of the oldest computing. Microsoft, before Microsoft, see, in 19, pardon?
Intel, sir, Intel.
Intel came very late. I mean, DOS operating system was an operating system. See, probably this company is one of the oldest computer company available. It actually started in 19th century itself. Can you recall? Any idea? It starts with I. Don't make me IBM. Great. Yes, IBM. So IBM, if you recall, IBM was the one who came up with PCs. They were the one who were the pioneers who came up with the initial PCs. Then later on, it was all started with HCL. Actually, the HCL was the one who actually came up with the PCs in 1980s itself, the late 1970s. But not in the name of HCL, it was some other name. So IBM was the one who came up with the computer in 1980, and that was the era where we talked about the emergence of computer and process optimization. Later on, 90s was the era of what? Already some of you said the answer. What is the special about 90s? Software. When you say software, what strikes your mind first?
Microsoft.
Yes, Microsoft, that is operating system. Operating system started prospering from the 1990s thanks to Microsoft, MS. Then came the era of 2000. You can see here, it's all about web and information retrieval. When we talk about web, what's the name which strikes us immediately? When I say web, when I say internet, what do you normally do? Google, that's it. Google played a pivotal role in the way in which we approached, or the way in which we started using the web. www was there from mid-90s, but it all came into the main stage only by the contribution of Google. Google, when they came up with the search engine, it all revolutionized the way in which we started using our web. And after this, there was after a decade from 2010s, what is it? Mobile or app store? What names comes to your mind when you talk about 2010s? Mobile or app stores?
Android.
Android, good. Android, again, Android is a byproduct of a Google. Okay, and then smartphones, great. And if you see the extension of all this Android and smartphones, can you say the specialty of these companies, Amazon or Uber? What is the specialty of these companies, Amazon or Uber? Amazon is a very big company, we all know. What's the specialty of that company?
Customer interaction.
Okay, customer interaction. I'll say you one fact. Do Amazon own any store, or do they produce any product?
No.
No, sir.
No. But still they dominate the entire globe, right? What is the technology or the backbone behind this business of Amazon? If you watch it keenly, the answer will be none other than internet. Am I right? They have not used any technology, any greater technology. What they started using was the mere internet, what is available to you and me. But that idea, but that creation, that innovation made them what they are today. Again, I cited another example of Ola or Uber. You take anything. What do? Ola doesn't possess even a single taxi across the globe. They use the products of Google, they use a smartphone, and they use the other driver's car or the other owner's car. They make money. Am I right or wrong? Do you all realize this?
Right,
Yes?
sir.
Okay. 1 minute, I'll come out of this open board and I'll go with Excel so that I can start writing. Just a minute. Just 1 minute. Okay, hope you're all able to see this. Okay, we are here. So Uber or Ola, the specialty of Uber or Ola is Ola doesn't have no taxi. Uber or Ola doesn't have any taxi, but still they dominate the entire rented transportation across the globe. A country like India, we know at least the cities, we are all dependent on Ola and Uber even during this pandemic period. So this is the reality. This is the innovation which popped up in the year 2010 and in the mid of 2020. So 20, we don't know what is going to be the era of 20. Something may newly come up. You know the story of Facebook. I don't want to say all those story. So the Facebook again is nothing but he made a forum where all can connect together. That's it. So they've started making huge chunk of money by using this kind of technology. What next? There are two set of people. One who see the future coming, the other one who chase it after it occurs. Okay. So the Amazon Ola are the people who belong to the first category. They saw the future coming, and there are other people, the other industries are there which chase it after it occurs. Okay, so it's up to us to decide where we are going to stay. Are we going to see the future coming, or are we going to chase it after it occurs? Internet of people. If you look at internet traditionally, the internet will be usually classified into first era of internet and second era of internet. The first era of internet was more on internet of information. If you look at internet, the first era belongs to internet of information, whereas the second era belongs to internet of value. I'm not going to talk deep about that. The second era was known as internet of value. So that's where the internet of value is the place where this kind of IoT, the blockchain, all these things fall. Okay. I'll say a simple difference. In internet of information, we retain the original and we share the copy. For example, I want to send a document to Dr. Durga ma'am. She is the organizer. So I'm sending this PPT. What happens here? I retain the original and I send the copy to her. That is the internet of information. Internet of value is, imagine I need to send 100 rupees or 1000 rupees to ma'am. If I say the same phenomena, like I will retain the original 1000 and I'll send the copy alone, will she accept that? Is it a valid transaction? Valid or not? Will you accept? Will any one of you accept if I retain the original currency and send you the copy alone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
That is what internet of value is all about. Whereas internet of information, you will agree. I retain the original PPT and I'll send you the copy. That's fine. That's how PDF, documents, images, videos, audio, all those things, we still have the original, but I tend to share the copy across the globe or across the net. That is what is known as internet of information, which belongs to first era. The second era of internet, what we are witnessing today, we call that as an internet of value, where I share property, I share IPR rights, I share my publications, I share money, I share asset tracking. All these things happens through Internet of Value. That's altogether a different topic. I'm not jumping into it. But again, coming back to Internet. If you look at the last century, the most impactful discovery, with, as far as I am concerned at least, is the most impactful discovery which has happened in the last century is none other than Internet. You may contradict with me, but this is my personal view, because it has changed the way the human race were evolving before that. If you look at Internet traditionally, Internet was by the people, for the people, and it was among the people. So it appears everywhere in the world, but it is still a connection between people and people. The Internet of people Internet is majorly meant for connecting the people. Am I right? Email transactions. What do we do with the email transactions? I'm able to communicate information among my peer groups. You take a social networking sites or social networking examples like Facebook, Twitter. What do we do there? We try to interact. We try to express. Who are all the target audience? Again, people. So it is by the people, for the people, and from the people. So Internet of people is there for a long time. It has been the product of people, and it is one of the transformative technology ever invented. It changed the world altogether. I hope you all will believe me. You know, nowadays, see, when I go to Facebook, it's quite understandable that my wife is there in Facebook, but it was very shocking for me to know that my grandmother is also there in Facebook. It is a reality. You can go and see. I mean, I'm not making a story out of it. Most of our parents have got into Facebook, whether they know how to use it or not, but they are still able to join Facebook, and they get united with, reconnected with the earlier relatives and their friends and so on. So it has completely revolutionized the way in which we work. And most importantly, Internet is not an ordinary thing. My dear friends, UNO, the United Nations organization, has said, or it has declared, that access to Internet is a human right. Access to Internet is a human right. So if someone denies you Internet, you can also file a case against them. You got it? So Internet is not a technology, it is not a process, or it is not an advancement. Internet today has become an essential part of our human right. Speech to express, right to express, similar to that, emotion to express, similar to that, Internet is also part of a human right. I'm not saying it. It is the declaration by UN government. So we have seen the transformative technology and what it was poised to make. And today we are once again poised to encounter, or already we have encountered, another important transformative technology which is happening around us. It is none other than Internet of Things. Yes, from the name itself you can understand. The earlier era was Internet of People, where people were connected to each other. You can see this diagram. Whereas today we are talking about Internet of Things. As the name suggests, the things are getting connected to each other. If you are new to this session, you may be wondering, how come the things are getting connected to each other? Yes, we will see, slowly demystify how things can start interacting with each other. For your information, per day, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are generated every day in the internet. I'm talking about every day. To make you understand the scale of it, you need 10 million Blu-ray discs to store the data. I'm talking about one day data generation of internet. You need 10 million Blu-ray hard disks, which will account to the height of a 4 Eiffel Towers. Then you can understand what is the impact of data which is being generated in internet. So this is the impact of a real internet, and now we are awaiting another, not awaiting, actually we are already into, we have already started embracing another important transformative path breaking technology called Internet of Things, which is also going to increase this data generation. So here were people like big data scientists, or people who are into data pre-processing, or people who are into machine learning algorithms, or people who are into data visualization. This is for you. It is going to flood data in the society where you can all start leveraging them accordingly. And most importantly, this era of Industry 4.0 is all about integration. It's not about differentiation, it's all about integration. Here, a technology cannot survive individually. For example, I may talk hour and hour about IoT, but IoT will not be the potential, the true potential of IoT cannot be realized until we process the data and we come up with some kind of predictions. So internet will be a feeder of data. Again, the data visualization, data pre-processing, data analysis, all those things will come into picture. They come up with some kind of results. Ultimately, it should end up in improving the quality of human life. So Internet of Things, again, the takeaway from this slide is, we have first ever time we are coming across, we are talking about connecting things. So we call that as the Internet of Things. What it is, why should you care? So what is internet? Why should you care about it? You can see why we should care about it. We want to receive more data. We want to receive more data. Second, we want to automate. I'll talk about each and every point. We want to make things faster. Yes. We want to control stuff. Is there any point which you don't agree here? Any point do you feel like you don't agree with that? Why internet? We have to look at this pyramid. We want to receive more data. Yes, we are in the era, again I have stated earlier, we have started using deep learning algorithms, we have started using machine learning algorithms, and we are also in the verge of starting quantum computing. So we need data. And we also saw a sample of how much data is being generated in the globe through internet alone. So we want to receive more data. Okay, that is one aspect. Second, we want to automate. This may be a contradictory point for some of you. Why should we need to automate? Because we love automating. As a human being, we love to automate. And again, automation, when I talk about automation, again, wherever it is possible, we tend to automate. The innate quality of human being to automate is the result where we are seeing about driverless cars. And why to go to that extent? The home cleaning robots. Yes, the housewives or particularly the lady faculty members will be very happy when these things comes into full existence. Home cleaning robots, the robots which can clean the vessels and so on. Pardon me, I'm not talking about husbands here. I'm talking about robots. So home cleaning robots. We want to make things faster. It's a quite nature, right? We want everything to happen faster. We don't have a time. We have to do the things very faster. And thanks to digital technologies, which keep us achieving this ambition again and again. And finally, we want to control stuff. This is the human nature. Again, we try to control each and every human being. The wife tries to control husband, the husband tries to control wife, the parents tries to control kid, and the kid tries to control parents, and so on. This is the human nature. So that also gets exhibited here. So we want to control stuff. These are all the reasons why we think or why we should embrace IoT. You may be wondering, like, there are a lot of thousands of technical reasons, but if you look at the human psychology, these are all the reasons which majorly makes us to go towards or advance towards emerging technology. So these are all the primary reason which pushes us towards IoT. What is IoT? I think from this picture you would have understood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blind men touching the elephant, and they are trying to say how the elephant will look like. Have you heard about this story? This man, when he touches the tail, he says that elephant is more like a rope, a elongated rope. This man, when touches this space, he says that elephant will be more like an ellipse, a curve kind of a structure. This man, when he touches the legs, he says that elephant will look like a cylindrical shape, or it may be available in the form of a cylinder. This guy will have his own impression, and this guy will say that it is more like a floating one, and this guy will say it is something which can also fly in the air. ஸோ இதை நீங்க கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்க இல்லையா? ஐ மீன் 6 குருடர்களும் அவங்க யானையை பார்த்து அவங்களுக்கு என்னென்னலாம் இம்ப்ரெஷன்ஸ் வந்தது அப்படின்ட்டு. Pardon me if someone doesn't know Tamil, I'll again talk about it. So like that, IoT is also doesn't have any uniform definition or uniform explanation. Whatever I give today, it's about my perception. You can also vary. You can also come across different versions of IoT, but don't worry. Ultimately, certain basic things of IoT will never change. Internet of Things. This word was coined by Kevin Ashton, who is considered to be the father of IoT. He is an UK scientist. He refers it to uniquely identifiable objects and their virtual representations in an internet-like structure. That is the definition which he gave. Other than that, Internet of Things are also locally called as Internet of Objects, Web of Things, not exactly machine to machine or device to device. These are all the different taxonomies which we can use for calling the IoT. I request
Participant, kindly mute yourself.
Thank you, madam.
Some disturbances here.
So definition of IoT, you can look into the Wikipedia definition. So these are all some traditional definitions which are available in the web. The Internet of Things, also called the Internet of Object, wireless network between objects. Usually the network will be wireless and self-configuring, such as household. WSIS is a very big consortium. They came up with the definition for IoT. And furthermore, in 2008, when all these things got some matured, when they got some maturity, they came up with a different definition. And in 2020, things have identities and virtual personalities operating in smart spaces using intelligent interfaces to connect and communicate within social, environmental, and user contexts. This is what we are seeing the IoT in 2020. And capabilities. Now let's talk about, we saw what is internet and their definition and why people should go for internet and IoT and so on. Now we will look at what are the capabilities. See, these are all the human capabilities. You remember one thing I said about the first era of internet is Internet of People. That was the one which was there for a long time. And now we are talking about Internet of Things. Keep this in mind. Now I'm trying to correlate how this people and Internet of Things can intersect each other. Before that, let's see. These are all the human capabilities. Human tend to communicate or tend to contribute by hearing, taste, smell, touch, and sight. Am I right? This is the innate nature of a human being. What are these things commonly called? What do we call this? Senses. Very good. These are all the common capabilities, sensing capabilities of human being. Now imagine what happens if we are able to embed these sensing capabilities into a mission or into a thing or into an object? That is what Internet of Things is all about. We all know by hearing we can observe something, by taste we can figure out something, by smell we can understand where we are or what is the kind of smell, by touch we observe, we realize, we communicate, we contribute, by sight, by seeing we can do that. So what if all these senses are embedded into a object or thing? That is what we basically try to do here. That's what, see, from this senses alone, we got this name sensor. Because sensors also does the same. It may not be versatile. It may not be doing all these operations, but sensors, they sense and they store the data and they communicate to the device. Now, this is what we are trying to do here. We as a people interact with environment through above these kind of senses. Imagine what happens if things also possess the same. So just imagine what we are trying to do is we are trying to inculcate this sense and communicate property to the things. You get me? So what are we trying to do here in IoT? It's basically we are trying to embed this sense and communicate property of the innate nature of human being into a object or into things. Am I right? If I had a good food, imagine that I had a delicious food in a hotel. What I say, I communicate. I communicate in my forum or I communicate to my friends. அங்க போய் சாப்பிடுங்க நல்லா இருக்கும் ஃபுட் அப்படின்னு நம்ம கம்யூனிகேட் பண்றோம்ல. How it happens, sense and it communicates. From an ordinary thing to a very big thing. I can also categorize a human being. I sense that some person is very good. I can also communicate. அவர் ரொம்ப நல்லவருங்க, அவர்கிட்ட எதுனாலும் நீங்க போய் கேட்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்றேன். Sense and communicate. What happens if things also start doing this? Just imagine this figure. All things have started communicating among themselves. So this is what we try to do in the first step of IoT. So in reality, so we talked about adding the ability to sense and communicate. What are the examples? I said we in IoT we try to add sense and communicate. What are the examples we can see? Can you say me some examples? Can you say me examples? I've written it here. Leave out these examples. Can you say me some other examples?
Alexa.
Alexa, very good. So Alexa is an example of an IoT. Okay. So now, just now we saw, we try to embed sense and communication property to a device. We have already seen this smartphones, right? The smartphones can sense. Basically, if we talk about only sensor, most of the smartphones will have two of these sensors, gyroscope and accelerometer. So these two sensors will enable you to sense, and they not only stop by sensing, they also start communicating. For example, let's imagine your doctor wants to know how many steps you are walking on a particular day. There are apps, steps counter, for example, steps counter, or in an iPhone there is a specific app for this. So what happens here is steps counter app counts the number of steps you walked on a particular day, and it is not only counting it, but it is also capable of communicating it to a respective authority. Communication to doctor. So the doctor will be able to see whether are you walking properly on a given day basis or not. It can also do a lot of things, not only counting the steps. It can say how many steps you have walked on a day basis, week basis, month basis, yearly basis. All these things can be done by this smartphones. Now come to these bracelets. These are all, jawbones. They are also called as jawbones. You might have not commonly seen here. Jawbone is the product name. Jawbone, what it is capable is, it is capable of monitoring your heartbeat. It can monitor steps, again, as mobile phone can do. It can also monitor your sleeping pattern. That's the beauty of it. You all know. It can also say how well you have slept yesterday. And even, it can also say what dream you have seen on the last night. It's just for a fun. It cannot intrude into your dream, but it can say how well you have slept on the last day night, how many hours you have slept on a week, how many hours you have slept on that month. And most probably you all can understand the value of this sleep, because nowadays we come across the huge commonest terminology what we come across among students, faculty, office goers, the stress. Stress has a direct relevance to your sleep pattern. So by measuring your sleeping pattern, we will be able to predict, will you be getting into any stress, or are you in a stress or not? This could also end up in saving the human life. Am I right? If the
Yes.
if the society would have known that Sushant Singh Rajput was under a stress, at least the other people could have intervened and we could have saved him today. We don't know. That could have happened. So stress is directly proportional to the sleeping pattern, and remember this, bracelets can do that. And this thermostat, this is not again a common thing in India, but if you look at any developed nation, West countries, this is an household item. This thermistor will merely say what is the temperature outside and what is the temperature which we need to maintain inside the house. Most probably you can use this for automatically switch on your ACs and off. So that is the ultimate use of this thermistor. It is produced by the company called Nest. Note down all these words, they all carry some significance. I'll come to it later in the presentation. Not only there, you can see here some more items. This is a Philips Hue lamp. Lamps or lights, however you call. Philips Hue lights. The specialty of this light is it reflects your mood. It glows in color. For example, if you are in a very pleasant mood, I don't know the exact colors. For example, if you are in a pleasant mood, it may be glowing in a sky blue. If you are in a very tensed mood, to relax you, it can also do it in the other way. If you are in tensed mood, it can glow in a sky blue. If you are very happy, or if you are very moderate, it can glow in a yellow color, and so on. So it reflects your mood swings. So this is a Philips Hue lamps which are available in the market today. And this one is a dog collar, dog collar. Probably some of you may have a pet animal. What you can do is you can wear this collar in your dog's neck or in your pet's neck. It will help you to trace where your dog is, what it is doing, whether it is going out of a range or not, and so on. Probably when you go for a walk, assuming that you are taking your pet along with you, you can leave them to roam around in the park or in the ground and so on, but still you will be able to know the whereabouts about your pets. Whereabout your pets. And this is again a door opener. actually door opener in sense garage door opener. It is also very commonly used in Western countries, garage door opener. What happens is, garage means நம்ம ஊர்ல நம்ம கார் நிறுத்துற ஷெட்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லைங்களா, அதுதான் garage. ஷெட் தான் வந்து நம்ம garageன்னு சொல்றோம். What happens is, whenever your car is approaching your house, the said door will open automatically. Door will open automatically because it knows you have approached the house. Once you park your car inside, it can close automatically. You need not to manually close it. You would have seen in this English movies, it automatically opens and it automatically closes. This is also prevalent. This is also available in the market. And this is again scale machine, or if I say this, you will all know, weighing machines. This is not a normal weighing machines. This weighing machines, it detects your weight. It also suggests the diet for you. It doesn't stop only by measuring your weight. It also suggests a diet plan for you. So these kind of weighing machines, smart weighing machines, are also available. And probably you all know, so far we have seen a lot of devices. Still we will see huge amount of devices which are available in the ecosystem of IoT. But one thing for sure, to make use of all these devices, you require an internet, right? Am I right? It's basically Internet of Things. So you require an internet to do all these things. But the beauty of this Internet of Things is, these devices, at least the devices which were manufactured after the IoT era, will be compatible with internet. Will be compatible with internet. But what about the devices which were produced the yesteryears? Like the era where the internet was not there. But I'm talking about, for example, you take a PLC, the programming logic control, or PAC, programmable automatic controller. So these are devices which are there already. I hope you can all recall. If you recall, we have seen a lot of projects in name of embedded systems. In embedded systems, we have used these kind of items. Probably you all know. A very simple example is automatic switch off or switch on of electric motor with respect to the water filling in a tank. Your automatic, once your tank gets filled automatically, it will be sensed and your motor will be switched off automatically. This is an ideal example of embedded system, which was there even before the dawn of this IoT. But the advantage what we possess or what we leverage in this IoT is, even we can use those kind of items, or we can transform those kind of the pre-era IoT items also into this IoT era. That is, we still have an option of using the same microcontroller which is available before the IoT era, can also be brought into this era of IoT. That is the beauty of this IoT. I can still now, sorry. Sorry. So I can merge those items also into this IoT era. என்ன சொல்றேனாங்க, இப்ப ஐஓடிக்கு முன்னாடி நிறைய டிவைசஸ் கண்டுபிடிச்சிருப்பாங்க. அதெல்லாம் நம்மளால ஐஓடிக்குள்ள கொண்டு வர முடியுமா அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா முடியும். We need to do some adjustments. It's not something that as it is we can bring them into the IoT ecosystem. We need to make some changes in the hardware and software, but still we can do that. That is what I'm trying to argue. Any doubt so far? Any doubts?
So what is the difference between embedded system and IoT?
Okay, so this is categorical system, sir. I would say IoT is a subset of embedded system. Again, some people may accept or they may not accept. What we do is very categorically saying, sir, embedded system era, we never thought of using. See, embedded system was majorly built on microcontrollers. Okay, microcontrollers, and somewhere some places we also use processors, but they were not synchronized with, or they were not aimed at using internet. Wherein when you imagine an embedded system along with the internet, it is automatically an IoT. Have I answered your question, sir?
Sir, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Done.
So other than that, we can talk a very long about embedded system and IoT, but the nutshell is embedded systems were not developed keeping internet in mind, wherein today the same embedded system, when it starts using internet, it becomes an IoT. And it's not so simple, sir. If you look at the intricacies of this using it in IoT, automatically in embedded system, we were not bothered about identity of physical identity or a digital identity of a device, because it was all oriented towards a specific purpose and we were all happy using them. But now when I say I'm going to collect the data from it, now we are in the era where we have also started looking at identifying the devices which are available in this ecosystem. For example, நான் என்ன சொல்றேன்னா சார், IoT குள்ள நீங்க வரும்போது டிவைஸோட ஐடென்டிட்டி பிளேஸ் a very vital role. wherein embedded systemல நமக்கு அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு கான்செப்ட் இருக்காது. Second important difference is embedded systems were all majorly oriented towards standalone systems. For example, automatically controlling the water filling in a tank. It is very good. It is a simple embedded system. Now imagine I want to know how much water is being consumed in a particular area. What can I do now is I can merely get the data from that automated machine so that I will be able to know. இப்போ ஒரு 10 வீடு அங்க இருக்குன்னா அந்த 10 வீட்லயும் எப்ப அந்த வாட்டர் கரெக்டா ஃபில் ஆகுதுங்கிற டைம் டியூரேஷனை வச்சு I'll be able to measure how much water is being used in the each and every house for a particular period of time. This is what IoT is all about. So IoTங்கிறது ஒரு எக்ஸ்டென்ஷனா தான் நம்ம பார்க்கணும் with respect to embedded system. Have I made it clear, sir?
Yes, sir, clear. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But they are all close cousins. We cannot say embedded system is something different from IoT. It all evolved from there. So, okay, I was talking about IoT. We were talking about how sensors can be embedded into digital devices and how can we create a family of IoT and so on. But who cares? These people care. Who are they? See there. Cisco, General Electricals, IBM, Samsung, and Google. These are all the people who care. Why do they care, or to what tune they care? Let's see some data. Internet of Everything was launched by Cisco. I'm saying this in the mid of 2015 itself, they launched it. You can also go and Google it. Internet of Everything is a word coined by Cisco. Cisco is operating very heavily in the IoT space. Initially, they had an inhibition towards embracing this IoT because they thought IoT could challenge their routers or IoT could wash away their market. But later on, they realized that IoT is going to feed them. So now Cisco is already, they have released some beta versions of IoT routers. Now Cisco soon will come up with lot of IoT routers compatible for different applications. They are into it. They have also come up with one or two IoT routers. Soon you will see lot of slew of materials, slew of routers coming out from them. Smarter Planet is the word coined by IBM. Under the name of Smarter Planet, IBM has started working, and they have been working in this area for a long time. So they try to merge IoT, ML, cloud computing, all these things, and Smarter Planet is also available in form of IBM Watson. I'll also say this at the last. So you can also use Watson. Smarter Planet, again, you can go and Google this. Smarter Planet is the tag word under which the IBM operates in the area of IoT. Then comes Industrial Internet by GE. General Electrical Systems, there was a short video, Boy Next Door. If it is possible, you can also YouTube this, Boy Next Door, which was an ad developed by GE. GE, General Electricals, also started using IoT in name of Industrial IoT or Industrial Internet. And these are all some acquisitions which took place. You can see here, Nest. You recall, we saw this thermistor company, the thermostat company. This is by Nest, where it is. Yeah. The Nest is nothing but a company which manufactures this kind of thermostat and smoke detectors. This company was acquired by Google for the tune of $3.12 billion somewhere in 2016 to 17. They acquired this Nest for $3.12 billion. And remember, Nest is not a big company. They merely manufacture smoke detectors and thermostats. Samsung. So they acquired a company called SmartThings for $200 million. SmartThings was a very small startup, and they were coming.
Sir, screen is not visible, sir.
Yeah, one
Please share
minute.
your screen.
No, I think I'm already sharing it. Are you not? Are all of you not able to see the screen?
Sir, visible,
Sir,
sir.
visible, sir.
Visible. Okay. Okay. I think because I didn't go away from the screen. Yeah, I didn't go away from the screen. So, and you have Internet of European Things. This is a very, very important concept. Internet of European Things was founded by Consortium of Europe countries. So what they do is they all come together. For example, the all European countries come together and they all operate for the countries like Germany, Finland, Sweden, Denmark.
Sir, screen is not visible, sir. Please
I
check
think
once.
it's only problem for you. You have to check once.
No,
You can.
sir. Maximum participants, they are not able to see your
No,
screen.
now it is not visible, sir.
1 minute.
I can see your screen, sir.
1 minute. I'll reshare it.
It's visible, sir, visible.
No, it is invisible, sir.
1 minute. I'll reshare it. Are you able to see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir,
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, visible, sir.
Thank you, madam.
thank you, sir.
Okay. Coming back here, we were in the Internet of European Things. So Internet of European Things, all these European countries, they came together. They funded huge amount of euros for IoT projects. You can also go and look into the documents. There are a lot of documents available in the Internet of European Things where many countries started working on different areas. To name few, some countries may focus on healthcare. Some countries were focusing on smart cities. Some countries were focusing on industrial Internet of Things, IIoT, and so on. Finally, they all share the documents and they share the technology. They handshake among themselves and they go on. So this is Internet of European Things, was very, very hugely popular, and it's still there. Some of the countries or some of the researchers were given funding through this scheme. And Gartner identifies top 10 strategic technologies. The Internet of Everything created better experience in unimaginable ways. That is, you can also see Gartner is an important survey company. You can also rely on Gartner for any technology. For example, you want to know what are the top 10 languages which will rule the world next decade. You can always go and look into the Gartner survey. So Gartner rated IoT as one among the 10 important strategic technologies which will rule the world in the 2020 and the forthcoming decade. These are all some places where you can really understand the impact of a IoT. How big? Is it very big? This is this much big. You would have seen a lot of predictions coming up. So right now, that is, this data was taken in the period of 2008 to 2015 or 16. They say there were 10 billion devices, 1.5 per person. That is, each and every human being living in this globe will be having at least 1.5 devices. Let us not go to that extent. Just imagine how many devices, how many smart devices are there in our house? Can you say me? In an average middle class family of an Indian family, middle class Indian family, how many smart devices are available? Can you come up?
Three to four.
Very good, 3 to 4. At least two smartphones, one Wi-Fi router, a smart TVs, tabs, laptops, and so on. So when I say devices, I include all of them. So very easily, we cross this 1.5 per person. Now the prediction is by 2020, they expected that 50 billion devices will be there, 8 per person. The average moved from 1.5 to 8. So this is the amount of increase which they were expecting to happen in 2020, and almost I hope we have reached it. I mean, leaving out this pandemic period, we know even this pandemic period has given rise to usage of these devices. Am I right? Most of us went for buying a webcam. Most of us went for buying a stylus. Most of us went for buying a mic, headset, and good mic, and so on. Laptops, mobile phones, and so on. And the other predictions are, they say in automotive industry alone, it will be crossing the $202 billion, and in healthcare, the total revenue will cross with respect to IoT alone. It will be $69 billion. Remind me, probably at the end or after the lunch, the post-lunch session, I'll be showing you the slides in IoT in healthcare. I'll not be able to cover it up, but I'll show you for your reference. The utility factories or the utility sector, they predict $36 billion. And consumer electronics, you can see that is the place where the huge money is flowing, $445 billion. So these are all some predictions with respect to IoT industry, IoT emergence. So now currently 1% of the things around us is connected. That is, when I say connected, I mean 1% of the things around us is connected. That is, including our car, refrigerator, washing machine, heater, door. I mean, they all can be connected, should all be connected, but they are not, because we still have a lot of challenges. The challenges may be, participants, I kindly request you to mute. Yeah, thank you. So refrigerator, car, washing machines, we all can connect this. But currently, if you see, only 1% of the devices are connected, and we see there will be a rapid increase in the amount of percentage of the devices which gets connected. And from 10 billion today to 50 billion in 2020 should include processes, data, things, and people. See, we cannot achieve any leap and bound development in IoT by leaving out any one of this. It should have a process, it should have a data, it should have a thing, and most importantly, the people, the humans. We cannot leave out any of these factors in the emergence of IoT. It is expected again 14 trillion over 10 years, third in list of top 10 strategic technologies. That is what we saw.
Sachin sir, kindly unmute sir.
Sure, ma'am. Just 1 minute.
Thank you. And these are all some predictions. In 2015, these were the areas of spending, and they have not mostly changed. If you see, the most area where the industry spent was Internet of Things. It was around 32% of their budget, and second goes to high performance computing, and the third one was about energy saving. So it also says it is very vital. The industries have identified that this IoT is going to make big. You may be asking, like, why it is required for a common man? What is the significance? IoT helps us in achieving better health, better safety, better comfort, better convenience, and better wisdom. So I'll come to this last. Better wisdom is a point we need to have a bit of elaborate discussion. But other things I hope you all can understand by listing out the number of devices. Yes, obviously, it helps us in improving our health. It helps us in improving our safety. I said about dog collar. I mean, likewise, you can also think of using a smartwatch with tied by your elders or the toddlers. We will be able to know where they go. We will be able to track wherever they are roaming within a restricted zone and so on. Comfort, we all have seen. Automation is directly proportional to comfortness. So we all embrace this technology for enhance our comfort. Convenience, comfort and convenience are interchangeably used. So it also, I mean, we also come up with these kind of innovations. We embrace these innovations for increasing our convenience. Wisdom. Wisdom, if you look at the wisdom, you can see wisdom falls at the top level. If you look at this ladder, pyramid structure, any device senses. What does it sense actually? Sensor senses. What will be the form of data available of a sensor?
Analog.
Analog or digital, am I right? There are some sensors which can also give you digital outputs. So analog and digital. Okay, so this becomes a data. So this analog signal or digital signal is what we term it as a data. How do we arrive information from data? What is the definition? When does a data becomes information? When does a data becomes information?
When it is meaningful.
Yes, when it gives out some meaning, when the data starts giving out some meaning, we call it as a information, or to be very precise, the collection of data, we call it as a information. Right? We call the collection of data as a information. Okay, knowledge. When does the knowledge comes from information? Shall I say meaning, extracting the meaning out of it? Then what else?
When it is useful.
Useful, some useful findings. Right? So wisdom comes above all. What is wisdom actually? Knowledge, when does a knowledge becomes a wisdom? When we are able to innovate, or it need not be only innovation, or it can be like save human life or predict future. This can be very easily understood by current context. Look at this COVID-19 spreading pattern. What do? We sense. We sense. Always don't think that sensing is an operation which should be done by sensor. Any device which senses or which collects the information can be put here. For example, I'm talking about webcams, RFID tags, or mobile apps, or human collected data. I mean, humans can collect the data. So what happens? Data is collected, sensing happens, That is, they collect the data. Sensing is done by public work officials, public health work officials. Then the data is available with them. It says the area, people, hospital and other facilities. When it becomes information, when they are able to categorize or project or summarize with respect to district wise or taluk wise, it becomes a information because it is giving them some meaningful insights. When it becomes a knowledge, when they understand the pattern of spreading, the pattern of spreading of disease is a knowledge. Where does the wisdom comes? How to encounter this spreading of disease? Are we getting any idea to encounter this spreading of disease? Are we able to stop the spreading of disease? That's where the wisdom comes. Now can you understand? That's where the wisdom comes. Don't worry, I'll show you some more examples. You can take this Google flu. This Google flu, you all would have come across, you all would have heard about this flu. Flu was there dominant way back in early 2011 to 14. Fortunately, India didn't face this flu, but this swine flu, you would have heard about this swine flu, right? I'm talking about this swine flu. Swine flu affected African countries to the most. African countries were the one which were very worstly affected by this swine flu, and almost all other West countries also came across this. Luckily, in India and in Asia,
Sir, Yashwant sir, kindly mute, sir.
Madam. Okay.
So these are the countries who were affected worstly by this flu, swine flu. There is an use case with respect to Google. You can also go and refer that. What does Google did was, by browsing pattern of people, by using the browsing pattern of people, they were able to predict where the disease will spread next. By using the browsing pattern of people, predicting the spreading of disease in advance. Can you understand this logic? How were they able to do this? It was very simple. They started collecting the data of browsing pattern of people. That is, the data collected here was their browsing pattern. For example, let's imagine that quite obvious. This is the time where we normally tend to search in Google, like, what are the COVID-19 symptoms? What are the medicines for COVID-19? So if you start browsing them, then that is the indication that there is a fear or there is a likelihood that that disease may spread, or that there are people who have been affected by the disease in that particular location. Since it is a pandemic, was a global one, it was not easy for us to estimate the spreading. But since swine flu was restricted to some countries, they were able to see what will be the country which will be affected next. So they took the data from browsing. The browsing data were taken. So they were converted into information. Like, what are the things which were browsed? Whether they were only browsing for symptoms, or whether they were browsing for medicines, or whether they were browsing for life expectancy after swine flu, and so on. Depending on they classified those data, and from that they identified what are the areas where the browsing was more towards the advancement of symptom of disease. So that became information. Then finally, they were able to warn the country, respective country, that, hey guy, for example, let's take Zambia was the country which they found through the result that will be affected next. So they could warn the country Zambia that you are the country which will be mostly affected by swine flu. So by doing this, what the country can do, the country can keep stock of the pharmacist with required medicines. And
Excuse me, sir.
yes, madam.
So this is time for inauguration.
Okay,
for
madam. I'll
AICTE
stop and
inauguration.
I'll,
So
I'll
with this.
rejoin by 12. Thank you, madam.
Okay.
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, YouTube streaming link is given in the group. Kindly join in that link for AICTE inauguration. After the inauguration is over, let us continue the session. Thank you.
टीवायचे सगळे सब्जेक्ट घेतले. टीवायचे सगळे सब्जेक्ट सांगितले तुम्ही.
Thank you, Nilesh. मला आवाज येतो? हो, hello. Hello. Hello, माझा आवाज येतो? Ma'am, set up. Good morning, ma'am. Respected teacher and my dear friends. I feel lucky that we are college student आहे. फर्स्ट म्हणजे मला आपल्या कॉलेज इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर आणि कॉलेजला आपले टीचर्स आमच्यासाठी खूप लकी आहे.